Hello again. So let's start with programming. Hopefully you have all the tools installed and you are all set up, and we can start to learn more advanced things in Python. So first topic we will cover is concerns functions, and here we will explore many things we didn't explore in the previous course, and we will start with no return functions. So functions which do not have explicit return statement. Uh, I assume that you remember how to define functions. If you do not remember, I actually covered this also in the video explaining the tools which will be used. So feel free to check out this video or go back to our previous course. And we will jump right to the section of no return functions. So what is going on here? Basically, sometimes you don't want, there is no need for you for your function to return something, and then you want to tell it, say it to Python that you want to return nothing. That's why there exists a specific object in Python, which is called none, and this none object is just nothing for Python. So basically, I can show you in the inline mode. Let's open Python, and I can create a variable which contains the object none. And you can see that type of this object is NoneType. So none is nothing for Python. It's not the same as zero. We can see that if we check if none is the same as zero, we get false. We can ask Python none is zero, and we will again get false. So basically none is nothing, and it's not zero, it's not an empty string, as we can see as well here. It's just a specific object which is used in Python to tell someone that to tell Python that that this is nothing, that here the result of something is nothing, or something like this. So why would we need something like this? So an object like this. So one example is, as I said, functions, and we will have a look at a simple example where we add numbers, and we will consider two different behaviors. So one example is what you have done so far. So basically you create a function which returns something. So here we have a simple add function which adds two values, and then we can use this function to, for instance, add 1 to 2 and get 3. So let's exit the inline mode. As you can see, if you are in a terminal, you can write clear, and then terminal is cleared. Nothing gets lost if you scroll. If you have a separate terminal window, usually nothing is lost. You can scroll up and see what you cleared. Here it doesn't work like this, but let's not worry about this. So let's run this script, python 3 add.py, and we can see the result, printing assigned value to variable a, which is 3. So this was printed as the output of running our script, because we had this separate print line here. But if I delete this line or comment on this line, and run this script again, then you will see that there is no output at all. So the printing happens here. What we might sometimes want to have is a print statement inside the function, because maybe the goal of our function is actually to print something. Okay, so let's have a look at an example where our goal is actually the goal of our function is not actually to create this result, but to print it. And then we might want to create a function like this. As you can see, nothing has changed like in these two lines. The only difference compared to the previous example is that right now in our function we don't return the result of addition. We simply print this result and our function returns none. If I run this example, you can see that at print.py you can see that first of all Python printed 3, and then it printed printing assigned value to a variable a, and here we have none. So what actually happened here? This 3 was printed when we have called the function on specific arguments. So here we define the function. Nothing has happened. If you can see that if I comment on these lines, save this file and run this script again, then there is no output. Now if I uncomment the line number 4 and run this script again, then the output is 3, because right now what happens is that we ask Python to execute the function. We do not only define the function, but then we also try to execute it. When Python executes it on specific arguments, then at some point Python reaches this line and it prints a plus b, so 1 plus 2, so 1 plus 2 is 3, so it prints 3. But the most interesting thing happens when we uncomment the line number 5. Let's save this file, and then we get this kind of weird output. So basically this part is printed out, and we see printing assigned value to variable a, and then it says none. So as you may remember in the previous example, if we had this line not commented and we run this example, after we run this example we get this printing assigned value to variable a, and then we have 3. So the assigned value, the value assigned to variable a is 3. And if we run this new example, then the printing the assigned value to variable a is none. Why is that so? Well, because here what Python does, it executes this function and stores the result of this function in variable a. What is the result of this function? Well, the result of this function is none. Because it's not a plus b, because we just print a plus b. The result is here. The result is specified in the return statement. So that's why we see none here. And why do we actually bother talking to you about this? Why care about none, and why not always return something? There are programming languages where functions always return something, but in Python it doesn't have to be like this. And you often, as a programmer, write functions whose main purpose is to print something, not to return something. Maybe it's for debugging purposes, or you want to display something to a user, something like this. And what happens in Python is that we can get exactly the same behavior as in this example, using a code like this. So the only thing that has changed, as you can see, is that there is no return statement here, and the function just ends after this print. And you can see that if I run this example at print 2, then I get exactly the same output. And what happens here is that Python, if there is no return statement, by default returns none from this function. So you don't have to write the return statement. You don't have to write return none. Python will do it by default. So this is how it works. And this whole video was here to explain to you, if you at some point wrote a function and you try to assign something to a variable and there is no result, then most likely you have written a function which has no return statement, and Python by default returns none as a result of this function. So yeah, these are no return functions, and in the next video we will talk about global variables, so variables which you can define for the entire script. So thank you for your attention, and see you in the next video.